Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another beautiful evening with us on Live with Lloyd. I'm your host, astronumerologist Lloyd Strayhorn. You know, this site I have is so interesting. For some reason, all the things I had lined up, it's almost like I got another set of pages. It's really, really interesting. So anyway, my normal sponsors, like I have for my April newsletter, it says January. I have no idea what's going on, okay? Uh, Let me see if I can do this right. But I do have some to one of the sponsors is Nicholas Brooklyn, celebrating over 50 years in business at 1396 Fulton Street. They're having a big event this coming Saturday, the 27th, I do believe. It is with King Simon, Sister Cafunia, and also Hank Rising Sun. Excuse me, it's this Sunday the 27th, okay? And also Miss Kimberly of Manifest on Purpose. She also has a business application now with astronumerology and business. And for some reason, everything is, well, anyway, I can't explain it. But anyway, let me hope this is correct. Nope, see, that's Wednesday. Okay, here we go. Well, anyway, I'm going to do the forecast, and I'll just go from there. Things happen. But anyway, this is Monday, the 21st. We are definitely in the sign of Taurus. Let there be no question. The moon is in the sign of Aquarius. It went in late yesterday evening after 7 o'clock, I do believe. It's a 4 universal month, 7 universal day, week, a 7 universal day. And for those that are Cancer, Pisces, or those that are born on the 2nd to 7th, 11th to 16th, the 20th, the 29th, and the 29th of the month, not the 31st. Okay. So anyway, I have no idea what happened. Everything I had lined up when I went to go to it, it happens. But anyway, I do want to thank you for joining us. As you know, yesterday was Easter, and this morning at 7:35 in the morning, when the moon was in the 11th house, the house of Aquarius, Pope Francis passed away. He was born on December the 17th of 1936. He lived to be 88. And actually, he was sworn in at age 76 on March the 13th of 2013. That's when it was swearing in date, but his inaugural, the pageant, so to speak, was on March the 19th of that year in 2013. And he did pass away on, this morning, the 21st at 7:35. So it's a 7 universal day today. When he was sworn in, it was a 4 universal day. And when he was born, his month, his day, and year of birth, the destiny number was a 3. In addition, I'm going to be taking some responses. There are a couple of questions, a couple of things that I have in mind. There's some people who made donations that I did not see on Wednesday. And I'm going to make sure I acknowledge that and give you your readings and stuff like that. And also, one of my good brothers, DS, he tunes in. I don't know whether he's on yet, but he tunes in. He is November 6th, I believe, and he wants to know why he attracts the 4s. Well, I hope to explain that. But one of the things I want to show you was how my book, Numbers in You, evolved to the level it has. And I'm going to try not to belabor it, but one day, back in 78, 79, I was given this book by a good friend. His name is Lloyd A. Williams of the Harlem Chamber of Commerce, okay, right here in Harlem on West 136th Street. He gave me this book as a gift. And what it was just a plain gift. And then it had some lettering inside. So I says, well, if I had to write a book, what would the name of the book be? This was the name I came up with. And you know why? Only because when you give your book and you give you these stencils, you can only do but so much. And so that's how Numbers in You actually came into effect by this book given to me as a gift. For whatever reason, Lloyd gave me this book. And it's interesting, both Lloyd and I are born on the 16th of the month. and both our fathers was born on the 1st of April. So we have this ritual every April 1st. We call each other brother to brother and honor our fathers, who were great men, by the way, because his father didn't play either. But this is how the start of the book came into it. So what happens is, when I was telling people I wanted to publish the book, they were saying, well, Lloyd, you need to make some Xerox copies. And I figured that's exactly how it's going to go. Just like that. I made some Xerox copies. That's how it's going to appear. So what I did was, in March of 1980, 45 years ago, I decided to go on this something carried away. And 6 months later, in September, I had the book published, and this was the hardcover edition of Numbers in You. It was painted by Abdul Rahman. Abdul Rahman was born on November 21st, an excellent, excellent artist. And everything on this cover was symbolic. The 7, of course, was my number. The 7 continents, I had all the numbers written. And if you see a profile of a man and a woman of African descent, then I had the sun and the moon. It was very symbolic when I did this. But this was done in 1980. I did 5,000 copies. So if you have one of these books, you have a very rare, rare collection. Okay. Then, so once I published a hardcover book, right? Then I had it published in paperback too. See, I had it covered in paperback, and I wanted to have it where people could afford it. I think I did about 5,000 copies. But if you have any of these 2 books, you have within you a collector's item, that's for sure. Okay. Then in 1987, one of my students was dating an editor of Ballantine Books. Cheryl Woodruff, hers her name, Aries, April 4th. And what happens is, it just happened that Ballantine Books had this lady to do a numerology book, but she was giving them so many problems. My student, bless his soul, Terrence Warner, that I taught back in the 70s, had told Cheryl, he was dating at the time, I hope he ain't putting all her business in the street, but that was way back in the day, okay? That, why don't you get my teacher? Lo and behold, I get a call. And that's what led to this book, the 1987 edition of Numbers in You. So if you got this book, this is a collector's item too, okay? So I just wanted to show you how things evolve. So and by the way, when I published this book, it was about 140 something pages. By the time I got to publishing this book, it was about close to 400 pages. Okay. And so this was a book I published at that time. Then in 1997, and I told him in 87, I said, the book is going to sell for a long time. I'm not bragging, but here's the point. Whenever you're dealing with universal principles, it never goes out of style. That's like saying the seasons of the spring, summer, fall, winter, you can say with predictability it's going to be here. So that's what led to the publishing of this book, the 87 edition. So it went so well that this was published in 97, the book that you now have. This to this day is still the best-selling book of all my books in my Numbers in You series. This is still the best-selling book. But what happens is, if you've got this edition, that makes it even rarer. Notice how there are different sizes of the book. This came out, and then this one came out, okay? So it just goes to show you how the book has evolved. And I said I would talk about it. I don't know what possessed me to do it, but I wanted to show you how things evolve, okay? And so it is something I'm very proud of. But I need to thank my brother, Lloyd A. Williams of the Harlem Chamber of Commerce, that was responsible for me to do this. Little in my wildest dream when he gave me this. I don't know what possessed him to do it. But, and in fact, putting in stencils, because you only get so many letters to stencil in. I did this, Lloyd Strayhorn, Numbers in You by L. Strayhorn. Notice I even put a price up there because they had some numbers. And then I really got into it and I says, okay, I had to do the table of contents. There it is. Notice health is first, trips, lovers, herbs, jobs, sex, of course. Well, that's how we all got here. But these were the contents. And I had no clue at the time that I would ever write a book. But it just goes to show you how sometimes things will come your way. And it's just a matter of, well, that's happened in my case. And as somebody said, Lloyd, you'd write a book, much less going to write 6 books. I just said, yeah, right. And so it's just interesting. I just want to share that with us, with the audience. So anyway, I'm going to read a couple of people who made donations. I'm going to make sure I read them. And any questions you may have. That is so interesting. All the things I had lined up, because Numeralytics, I don't know where her ad went, but she's a sponsor. And I hope you took advantage of her sale that ended yesterday on the 20th. And in terms of ordering charts, ordering merchandise from her, I do want to say happy birthday to, belated birthday now to Jazz Aphrodite. Her birthday was yesterday. Really nice sister. God bless her soul. And I'm going to be taking people's calls in a moment. I do want to thank everybody along the way. Okay, here's what we do. I wonder if DS is on yet. Let me see if he's on because I want to make sure I am. He has a question. His question was, he's a number 6, but he always attracts 4s. And I says, I wonder if this brother got 4s in his name. And I'll wait a little later. Maybe he'll be joining us. Because once I saw it, I says, okay, here's what we do. Okay, first of all, I'm going to, for the people who gave a donation, and by the way, okay, I do not ask for donations. In fact, what I did is I put on a banner, and there's a ticker at the bottom that I'm running just for people who, I'm not, my thing is, for those of you, if I read you and you make a donation, fine. If for those of you who get into their feelings, they made a donation and I didn't read them, don't take it personal because I get many messages and half the time I don't get to see them until I end the show, but I'm trying to do better. All right. So this is making it clear. At the bottom of the screen, you make a donation of your choice only after. These are for the newbies, the regulars like the Stevens and Carol and everybody else like that. And Charlize, they understand exactly where I'm coming from. All right. So this is just a reminder for those that are just tuning in. That's how we do that. All right. Now we got that out the way. So anyway, I want to, the person who donated last week was Abdul Reese, Ruise. They're born on August the 21st of 57. First of all, thank you for the donation. And what it tells me is you are a fire sign with a fire number, because any person born around the 20th, 21st, 22nd are cusp children, which means they have a foot in one sign they're about to leave, and the other foot is stepping into the sign right after that. So it all depends. So, for example, when they talk about Hitler, who was born on April the 20th, they refer to him as an Aries. But when they talk about Luther Vandross, that I had the pleasure of meeting, he's a Taurus. Okay. Tito Puente, that I met, was a Taurus. So all born on April 20th. Okay. So it depends. This is why the astrologer needs to know where you were born at on this planet at the time and what time you were born on this planet at the time. Okay. So in England, for example, if they're born in England, that's 5 hours ahead. If they were born in Hawaii, that's 6 hours behind. If they're born in China or India, that's 11, 12 hours ahead. So it all depends. If you're born in California, that's 3 hours behind. Okay. So the 7 o'clock here would be there, 4 o'clock there. So this is why the astrologer needs to do it. Okay. So hopefully you understand that. All righty. So anyway, being the case, your numbers being a 5 sign with a 5 number, because I'm going to assume it's Leo. that this is your year to really begin to take things to a next level as far as your career is concerned. It tells me you were old when you were younger and got younger as you got older, and probably the relationships as well. As a rule, conscientious, try to be a person of your word, and always have a lot of artistic flair. So it says, although you're born, says in 57, you may not look it, act it, or feel it for that matter. Your key or important numbers are always the 3, 1, and 4. If you're a Leo, if you feel you're a Virgo, it'll be the 3, 6, and 5. And as a Leo, your most important numbers will be Thursday and Sunday. As a Virgo, it would be Thursday, Friday, and Wednesday. Okay. So thank you very much for that. Then there's Yolanda Volcy, Volcy. She gave a donation. She gave a donation twice. Okay. Thank you so much for that. Much appreciated. And she had a birthday last week, a week before last, on April the 11th. I think it was a Friday too. So it tells me you would be a fire sign with a master number 11. Now, 11 would be adding to a 2, but because it's composed of 2 ones, I would say kind of fire, to be very honest. And it means very enlightening, a lot of revelation, a lot of visionary things that you would tend to be ahead of the curve. Tony Brown of Tony Brown's Journal back in the 70s and 80s. This was his birthday, and a couple other famous people of note. But nonetheless, it tells me you would be, Yolanda, a very highly elevated individual woman. And your key numbers, by the way, are the 2, 7, and 6. And your best days are always on a Monday and a Friday. All righty. Now, there is Anya Zavazina, excuse me. She made a donation too. And she said about her brother, but she didn't give the birthday. So I had the good fortune where she had reached out. It gave me an opportunity to say, what's your brother's birthday? Her brother, his name is Ivan, Ivan, and his birthday was just on Friday. He was born on April 18th of 1989. So happy birthday to him. Now, Anya, here's the thing about your brother. He's born under a fire sign of Aries. He's born on the 18th day, which is a 9. And he's born in 1989, which is 27. So to me, he's a 999 across the board. So what that tells me is this. Since 9 is ruled by Mars, which can be on the positive, humanitarian, global, universal, inspirational, bring out the best in people. To the negative side, it means he has to avoid all things relating to confrontations, conflicts of any kind, being very careful of handling guns or knives or sharp instruments, driving cars. I always tell 9 people, alcohol should not be your best friend. There are challenges I notice with 9 people where alcohol is concerned. It may be because the Native Americans, when introduced by the Europeans when they came here, first referred to it as fire water. So for those of you who've ever drunk for the first time as teenagers or whatever, like I did, and everybody did, the first thing it did was it burned my intestines, okay? So I understood why they call it fire water, but for some reason, 9s, I always tell 9s, there's some 9s that don't drink at all. And then there's some 9s that I've noticed had very serious challenges with alcohol. So I always explain that do not make alcohol your best friend. I ain't saying be a teetotaler, abstain, go to AAA. I ain't talking about that. AA meetings, rather. But to make sure that if you do it within some limits, some boundaries, some understanding, okay? So anyway, but your brother's number this year says, although it's the year of the 9 and he's a 9, and it governs his sign of Aries, that's a check. It governs his birthday, 1 + 8 is 9, that's a check. He happens to be in a 4 personal year. So that means there are definitely boundaries he should set for himself, Anya, in the sense that stay within the parameters, stay within the rules, have some roadmap to follow, some blueprint to build upon, lay the cornerstone to some things important. But the key is to waste not, want not, lend not, borrow not, and pay himself first. He is also passing through a health cycle. So it simply means he needs to stay on top of it. And he needs to be very, very careful handling instruments and tools, machines, things of that nature. But your brother's a fighter. That's all I can tell you. He's going to take orders well. Okay. And his key numbers are always the 9, 6, and 3, which means he has artistic talents and artistic abilities, and his best days are Tuesday Thursday, and Friday. Now, Chandra Kamaria, for her donation, thank you very much. You are born, she says she's born on July the 2nd. So therefore, she is a water sign with a water number, like Ivan was a fire sign with a fire number. Water represents, just by metaphysical description, sensitivities, intuitions, a strong sense of empathy and sympathy and inner awareness about things. They have this sixth sense, this inner knowing that they can't explain, but yet it's right on time. It tells me that whoever you are, Chandra, people would always come to you for advice. And here's the interesting thing, too. You were born in a sign of Cancer. Well, 2 rules the sign of Cancer. And you were born in 1973, which has a 20, which is a 2. So to me, just like Ivan, who's a 999, you are a 222. Okay. And because of it means, and see, 2s, because they're very sensitive, tells me this may be explained why you like to collect things or you find it hard to throw things away. All righty. So whatever the case is, that is it. But your key numbers are the 2, 7, and 6, and Mondays and Fridays are your best days. And finally, Trenee, Trenee, Indigo, okay, who is born on July 21st. All right. And I believe I read, I have a note next to it says teacher. Maybe that's what it is. But I tell you this, this is your year to step out on faith. This is your year to start anew, to start fresh, start all over again. Why? Because you are in a one personal year. Now, normally, this time of the year, July 21st, I will put you in the very first stages of Leo. So if an astrologer does your chart, you might be 1 or 2 or 3 degrees into the sign of Leo. Where if you've been born around the 22nd, 28th of 22nd, 23rd of August, you might be in the 29th or 30th degree of Leo, just leaving out. But in this case, you're just going in. So going in, it tells me a very youthful attitude, a very positive attitude. 3 people, when always remember, folks, anytime you meet a person, excuse me, on the 3rd, the 12th, the 21st, or the 30th of the month, ambition normally is their fundamental stepstone. It lays a foundation. And with 3s, as a rule, when told they cannot do this or do that, they become even more determined than ever before to do just that. Okay. And by the way, your lucky numbers, okay, let's say you say I'm a Cancer. If so, your numbers would be the 3, 2, and 7, which means Thursday and Monday and Fridays are your best days. But let's say, okay, I'm a Leo and I knew it from Jump Street. That means your numbers are the 3, 1, and 4, and Thursday and Sundays are always your best days. So I do want to thank all of you who I missed. Again, it's nothing accidental, but now to DS. I don't know whether he's in the house yet, but DS had wrote to me about in the comment section that although he's the 6th, I think, of November, he always attracts 4s. And I asked for his name, and he was kind enough to give me the name under on the comment section last Wednesday. And just as I suspected, 4s, I says 4's got to be in his name. This is his name. Okay. Look how many 4s is in his name. Whoops, can you see it? He's got all those 4s. He's got in numerology, you'll learn that 1 4 is averaging a first and last name. He's got 5 4s. Okay. So that tells me he would always attract 4s in some way. In fact, that is the number that repeated itself the most. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 5s. 5s and 4s get along very well. He has 2 3s, 2 7s, but it's primarily 4s and 5s. Now, 4s and 5s are air numbers. So it tells me this brother would like his space. Even though he's a water sign with an earth number, that means he would like it close to home and whatnot. I would say that definitely, without question, he would attract 4 people or those under the signs of Aquarius or Leo, maybe Gemini, because he's got 5 5s, and 3 5s are average in the name. But also the fact that even his first name adds up to a 31, which means he doesn't take orders well. And so this is what I'm looking at. So therefore, I hope DS is in the house so he can see this, because I'm saying there's a reason. See, let me explain. The birthday indicates why you're here. It is your name that tells me what you know and who you attract as a result of the name you project. And as a result, even when he said DS, well, D is a 4, S is a 3, that's an 8. Okay. So just if he used DS all the time, that attracts the Capricorns to him. But because his first name is a 1, okay, if you look there, it tells me probably one of his parents was either an Aries or Leo or an Aquarius, or born on the 1st, the 4th, the 10th, 13th, 19th, 22nd, 28th, or 31st of the month. It also tells me, since his first name is a 1, that the brother doesn't take orders well. And he being a fixed sign, and the number 6, which is can be stubborn, it tells me he would need to have his own kind of business. I hope y'all can see this, because I never get this thing right. Because anyway, yeah. Okay, there you go. So that's his name. That's his name. And I'm glad he shared it. I don't know how to, Danziet. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. In Sunderland, not Sutherland, but Sunderland. But I noticed he has 5 4s. That's way out of. But let me tell you about this brother's name. You see all those 4s? It tells me he will have secret enemies, but he is a genius in his own particular way. And let me tell you who would understand. His boys that's been rolling with him since elementary school. Like, yo, DS, that sounds just like you with your crazy self. You know what I'm saying? Not that he's crazy, but most geniuses are not considered normal in the first place. And the only sad part about geniuses, only down the road when they go into the history books and people reading about them, oh, they were so visionary, they were so ahead of their time. But in the moment, it's like, I don't know. Maybe something's wrong with the person. You know, so listen, you can't win for losing. Anyway, let me go here. Let me back up a bit. And I do want to thank everybody very much. Okay. Hi, Cheryl. And Jazz Aphrodite, please, please listen to the lady, okay? She don't be playing. In a sense, it's not bad, but I mean, you know, she handles her business. I give her that credit. Okay. And thank you all to the Live with Lloyd family. And also, I wanted to, for some reason, I had on here U-Juice products. All of a sudden, it switched up on me. I said, where'd all these come from? Anyway, because even when I got the newsletter, it's got for January. But I was looking at April earlier this afternoon, so I have no idea. So anyway, unconditional love to you too, Maureen. And let me see. Chuck Town, thank you. Go Lily, thank you. This is my man C. Okay. And let's see. Okay. Here's a person that's Miss Creative Communications, Peace Emporia. Her birthday is January the 3rd. Okay. She was born at 5:29 a.m., which means your sun is sitting in the very first house, the house of Aries, the house of personality, the house of individuality. So it tells me that. And then she's under the sign of Capricorn, which is a very individualistic indicator. Then she's under the ambitious number of a 3. So that means that this woman always listen, you got to be, here's what I tell number 3 guys or number 3 women. They don't do bums. So whoever's coming to her life, they had to have something on the ball. If not, they have to have the potentials of having something on the ball. Number 3s just don't do bums. But if they feel deep down, let's say she met somebody and she felt she had the potentials, she might let the person into her life, but she expects him to raise the bar up more than everything. This year, she's in a 4-cycle year, which means this is a year where you got to stay within the guidelines, the rules and regulations of the road, so to speak, know how to stay in your lane. It also indicates when 4 is always restrictive. Their boundaries set. That's why when the 4 year is called the square, that they seem either boxed in physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, whatever the case is. But it simply means waste not, want not, lend not, borrow not, and you deal with your needs versus in what you want. Okay. And that's one of, I think, the things that's affecting this nation. Everybody want this, but they ain't paying that. And so you deal with your needs first in a 4-cycle year. It also indicates people from the past, especially this month, because you're in a 4 personal month. So it means maybe people you haven't seen or heard from. And because you are in a 4, it means just watch your health. And it has to do with the moods more than anything else. All right. But your key numbers are always the 3, 8, and 6. And Thursday and Saturday and Fridays are your best days. Okay, so this is CC Naturally. Okay, Jess, she didn't give a birthday, but listen, thank you very much for being part of the Live with Lloyd family. This is Steve Callis. I hope I'm saying it right, Stephen. This is the same birthday as Barry White. He was born on September the 12th of 1944 and died on his anniversary on July the 4th, several years ago. But anyway, your numbers indicate you're old, young, and young, old. It's almost like plays a kind of interesting paradox. So right now, you're not even 30 yet, and yet you'll find that, therefore, if you find yourself being attracted to older relationships where persons are 5 or 10 or 15 years older than yourself, or a person introduced you to sex 101 that was older than yourself, it would come as no surprise to me. However, as you get older, you'll find that life becomes just the reverse. You be up there in your 40s and 50s and 60s, and they'll be up there in their 30s and 40s. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. But nonetheless, it does mean ambition, that you have some drive, some get up and go. And if I'm not mistaken, this is also the same birthday as Jesse Owens that aced him during the time of Hitler during World War II. Okay. He aced it. I mean, he just really knocked it out of the ballpark. And in fact, I might do something on Jesse Owens because there was this thing about he gave the horse a head start and he beat the horse. That's how fast the brother was. Okay. And so 3s like to do things quickly. So, and then you're a Virgo, so maybe that might modify it, but nonetheless, it indicates a very ambitious nature. Because you're born on the 12th day, it means to avoid letting people take advantage of you. Other than that, you wind up being the victim or the sacrifice for the plans and intrigues of others. And you're in a 3 personal year this year that emphasizes not letting people take advantage of your name, your reputation, your resources, things of that nature, not unless you want to go through a lot of suffering. So learn how to say no more first. Then yes, and you'll be fine. Okay, so again, your numbers are the 3, 6, and 5, and your best days are always without exceptions, my friend. Thursday, Friday, and Wednesday in that order. Okay. And hi, Sonia Harvey from Long Island. And here is Numeralytics. Good evening to her. She has BTV. She's been sponsoring. And I had a sponsorship up when I don't know what happened, but Wednesday, I know what to do this time. And to Deborah Lucas, hi to the, and these are all, I consider all of you part of the Live with Lloyd family, okay? We're all here to help each other, look out for each other, we better. Now, this is Yukimatsu's Yokio Matsuri, okay? I would imagine this is Japanese. If so, ni hao. No, that's Chinese. Konnichiwa. No, is that it? Konnichiwa. Anyway, you're January the 1st, okay? So that tells me you are a earth sign with a 5 number, very determined, and yet you're going through a transitional phase. And in fact, let me see right quick whether you're in a 2 personal year or whether you are in a personal 11. And I got a feeling, yep, you are in, just my crew here, you're in 11 personal year. So this is your year to take everything to the next level. 2 is a cycle under normal conditions where things appear to be a little uncertain, a little up in the air, where you're not quite sure. But when it comes to a master number 11 that you're in right now, this is a very unique year to take advantage of unique opportunities and take it to the next level. And so normally it affects relationships for the better. Diet, you might even think about changing your diet. Normally it deals with moving, but everything deals with doing things on a much higher level than is normal. And so let your visionary imagination reign supreme, because you're a Capricorn, which is very serious minded. You're a one, which is very serious minded. But this time, try to be open and receptive. And Capricorn and the one can be assertive, but this time you use the charm. I always tell women the Delilah method. You know, when you women really want something, you can be so sweet, so irresistible. My daughters taught me that, okay? So by that, what I'm saying is that yes, you can be assertive and aggressive normally, but it says this particular year to use the more patient Delilah approach. Just be warm and sensitive and receptive, and you'll get what you want. I see you were born at 4:10, so you just came right into the first house, because that covers the period from 4 to 6 p.m. 4 to 6 a.m. So your sun is sitting in the first house, which is a house of personality or Aries. But your key numbers are the 1, 4, and 8. And your best days are always on a Sunday, a Saturday, and a Tuesday. Okay. This is a Chucktown. Look at all those 2s and 0s. That's interesting. 2 is always sensitive. 2 is always psychic. 0, I consider part of Saturn. So what it tells me, there's going to be a paradox with you, Chucktown, in the sense that on one hand, you can be as sweet as duck butter, okay? And then there are times they think you don't have a heart worth anything, but it's not true. I would say they would have to know you. And people born on this day are normally very receptive, very sensitive. They're very kind and gentle, understanding, giving, caring, sharing, creative, artistic, and definitely romantic. But I would say to have to take somebody to know you is to love you would be the better way to do it. Very receptive. In this particular year, you happen to be in a 4 cycle year. When I took the month and day you were born and added to this year, 2025. So it just tells me that A, have a plan. B, just don't do things in a helter-skelter fashion. C, make sure that whatever you're doing, that it has a roadmap that follows some consistency from going roadmap to A, then to B, then to C, then to D, or blueprint, as they call it. It also indicates that this year you'll find that more Aquarians will be drawn to you. Leos will be drawn to you in a minor way. Geminis will be drawn to you, or anybody born on the 1st, the 4th, 10th, 13th, 19th, 28th, 22nd. Excuse me, 22nd, 28th, or 31st of the month. I spoke out of tune. But anyway, it's going to be an interesting year for you, that's for sure. And there was somebody famous also born on this day. Okay. Love Kimberly. Good. I'm glad you enjoyed Miss Kimberly. Okay. Greetings. The Dominican Republic is in the building. All right. Thank you very much for that. And thank you. Now, this is a person that made a donation, JH, and they didn't give a, but I appreciate it very, very much. Okay. And thank you. And this is from Jamie. Okay. I think I got it. JH, my husband's birthday is January the 3rd, 55. He's a 6. What are his lucky days? When you say he's a 6, that's because he was born in 1955, which is a 23. You're absolutely right. In other words, the month, the day, and the year he's born is a 6. The term they use in our vernacular as astronumerologists and whatnot are destiny number, life path, birth path number. I have learned in my experience to keep it simple because everybody may not understand the jargon. And so what I would tell your husband is that from the month, the day, and the year he's born, he is symbolically in the 6th grade in the school of life. Because we all heard about being in the school of life. What are we here to learn? What are we here to master? Whatever the case is. So that is it. But his lucky numbers doesn't come from that because the month, day, and year is the long range approach. But what is it is the first. And in fact, I just read somebody born on January the 3rd, just a couple of readings before this. So what are his key numbers? First of all, his angel numbers are always a 3, 8, and 6. His best days, take note, are always on a Thursday first, followed by a Saturday, followed by a Friday. His numbers are the 3, 8, and 6. So it is Thursday, followed by Saturday first, followed by Friday. Yes, I know Friday comes before Saturday, but That's the order of his numbers. It's like if you don't play the numbers at a lottery or convenience store in the right order, you'll get some money, but you won't get all the money. So Thursday is always his first day to make a choice of a decision, followed by Saturday, followed by Friday. But the point is, it's the weekend, okay? And that's it. All right, Goldie, thank you very much. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you, Sonia Harvey. Thank you so much for the donation. This is one of my favorites, Sister Maya. She is a Virgo, September the 13th, okay? And melanated, she always shows through. I don't care. She's either the first one, but there's hardly a show. Not that I'm putting pressure, you got to be on every single time I'm on. But the point is, she is consistent, and I honor you and I thank you, melanated. Okay, so that's it. Okay, this is Brandon Saunders. Thank you for your wisdom. What would you recommend on how to handle strong channeling? I don't know what you mean by that, but I can tell you this. You are a fire sign with a fire number. And what's interesting, you're born in the month of the 8th, and you're born in the year of the 8 because 1988 has a 26. So you are 898. Okay. So that tells me, Brandon, you are an old soul without question. All righty. Very philosophical, very mature, business oriented. And the fact that this is your year. This is your year because it's the year of the 9, and you happen to be in an 8 personal year. And since 8, and if you look at your birthday, you got 8 going through out of 2, 4, 6 numbers in your birthday, 50% of them are 8s. So it tells me you will be a child along this journey that you're on, a child of fate or destiny, that you will have plans to go one way, but as fate or destiny happens, you wind up going another way. And so it's not that you don't have control over your affairs, but it strongly suggests, and you will always have affairs with much older people. So coming up as a kid, it was probably some of the older guys. So when you was in teens, it was in their 20s. When you were in their 20s, it was in their 30s. They always tend to be about 10 to 15 years ahead of you in terms of time. It also explained that if you always felt comfortable with older women in relationships, that would make sense too. It tells me you're a fighter. You don't take orders well, being a fire sign with a fire number. And therefore, you should not let ego get the best of you and undermine you. All righty. But your numbers are the 9, 1, and 4, and your best days are always on Sunday and Tuesday. And that's for Jay Brown, who's a number 9. He is also, like Brandon, a fire sign with a fire number, except his is under the sign of Sagittarius, where Brandon was under the sign of Leo. But they're both number 9s. And except the difference of Brandon, he's in an 8 cycle year, which is his year to make some power moves. And you, Jay Brown, are in a 3 personal year, which is to expand your horizon, to expand your world. And your key numbers are the 9, the 3, and the 6, okay? You will attract young and old at the same time. This is Sharon West, my Libra 4 person high, one of my favorites too, okay? I got to be honest, all of y'all are my favorites. And I say that because I really appreciate you. Y'all could be doing something else with your time. Y'all could be eating, TV. Liz, I got to go somewhere. I'm too busy. But y'all are always mostly consistent. And I really, really appreciate you very much. I do not take any of you for granted. I think once I do that, it's a wrap for me. And okay. And Koala says she loved how I spoke about the negative aspects of the number. I'm curious about mine. And that's what I will do the next time. I think on Wednesday, I'll talk about your negative numbers again for those who didn't get it. Okay, so let me give you your positive numbers, Kyla. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. You are a Pisces 8 person born on the 17th of the month. Your key numbers are the 8, the 3, and the 6 in that order, which means Saturday is first, Thursday is second, then Friday. That is the order of how you wish to do things on very important dates. If I look to the negative side, which I got one time, because somebody asked me, could I do it again? And I will do it on Wednesday, I guess. That your opposite, see, once I know your key numbers, that's what my app is about. My Star 8 app is designed to tell you what your positive numbers are in green, what your challenging or stressful numbers are in red. So if I had to look at your red, your stressful numbers will be the 4 and the 5. Those would be the 2 stressful numbers, which means, and see, don't forget, each number rules a day. So since 4 is the main stressful number, that tells me normally on Sundays, like yesterday, you're normally challenging days, followed by Wednesday. Now, if I was one of those demonic numerologists, I say, girl, you want that important interview, you should set it up on a Sunday or Wednesday. Well, when you come out of that interview, you're going to be looking for me like, yo, man, they don't want to see me. They done pass word downstream. They don't hire this woman, all kinds of stuff. But it tells me you're young and old at the same time. You will also attract. So in your relationship, since you are now into your 25th birthday, you will attract, Kayla, older men, younger men, men from different cultures too, and long distance relationships. It'll be a combination. It ain't just one. It's like older and younger. And so in this case, I would say as you get older, right now they're older, but as you get older, they'll be younger and always long distance. So if you marry or deal with somebody outside of your own, say, ethnicity, culturally, linguistically, whatever the case is, that wouldn't surprise me at all. And since Jupiter is the ruler of foreigners, foreign countries, because the original ruler of Neptune or Pisces is Neptune, is Jupiter, which they now reassigned to Neptune. This would explain why whenever you go somewhere, you've never had a problem getting along with the natives, okay? So, oh, yes, and I told you your numbers are the 8, the 3, and the 6, and Saturday, Thursday, and Fridays are your best days, okay? So now, your best days, you are a Leo. In fact, you're born on the same day as Michael Jackson's father, okay? There was always issues about that because 8s and 2s are sometimes, I'll put it like this. See, each number is ruled by a zodiac sign. The number 8 rules the sign of Capricorn. The number 2 rules Cancer, which was Michael Jackson. So I'm looking at a Saturn-Moon relationship, which is conflictual. They will be, it's interesting because Mike Tyson was a Cancer when he first lost his championship. It was in the sign of Capricorn. I would have never had him fought in that period. That's when he's at his lowest in the zodiac sign. But you will definitely attract older person, my friend. Definitely always been very mature, very misunderstood, but to know you really is to love you. And only as you gotten older, especially when you got past your 33rd, 35th birthday, that things started taking a handle in your life. And so this year, in fact, you're in a 6th personal year. And so that means adjustments are in order. And since 6 is one of your challenging numbers through no fault of my own, it simply means you have to be careful of not making promises you can't commit. Make sure you are a person of your word. Always be on your best manners. And it's nothing wrong to say hello or thank you, or if you're going to say something, do it. This is a good time to go back to school. It's a good time to get back in the gym. It all depends on what you want to do with yourself. But your key or lucky numbers are always the 8, 1, and 4. And your best days, without question, is always on a Saturday and a Sunday. Wow, she knows Terrence Warner. She worked with him in the Department of Finances, 15 years with him. I haven't seen him since 87. That was one of the best things. And listen, he did not have to tell Cheryl Woodruff, why don't you call my teacher? And I'm telling you, and I was starving at the time. You have no idea. And I just happened to have gotten this call. Lloyd, would you, we need a numerologist to write a book. And that's how this edition came into being. This is how this came into being. And in here, you'll see I thank Terrence Warner. Because if it wasn't for him, this wouldn't have existed. And Cheryl was just the nicest sister. Her birthday was April the 4th, just a couple of weeks ago. I'd never forget Cheryl. The one thing my parents taught me, you never forget the people that help you along the way. See, people think they can do everything by them darn selves, but we don't realize some of the steps that we do, some of the accomplishments we make, results as people who played a role in our affairs. Never, ever be afraid to give another person a prop. Never be afraid to acknowledge those that help you get to the next stage. I don't know where this thinking comes from that everybody can do everything all by themselves. I don't need nobody. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And there were so many people along the way that made my life what it is. And I thank them and I always honor them. That's why I always tell a person, if I know them, thank you, whatever the case is. Never forget those things. But you know, Terrence Warner. Well, I tell you this, Sister Mine, if you know Terrence and still know, tell him thank you from the bottom of my heart and give him my number. Because his dating her at that time, I don't know what the situation is right now, but his dating her at that time in 87 changed my life. And I really appreciate it very much for that. Okay. This is TJ Lucas, January 27th in Aquarius. Okay. So you are air and fire. And what it tells me is that since this is the year of the 9 and you're born on the 27th of the 9 and the compound number 27 is called the royal scepter, one who succeeds as a result of their productive intellect, which means you should be a pretty smart cookie for the most part, TJ. It also indicates, too, that since you don't take orders well, this may have explained why you went out on your own between your 19th and 22nd birthday. And only as you've gotten older. And see, there's certain numbers that are late bloomers, and 9's are one of them. So probably between your 33rd and 36th birthday, which means you're almost there, that you can expect then to have a sense of controlling your life and affairs. You are a fighter, don't take orders well, have a good opinion of yourself. And if you've always been drawn to things like the military, law enforcement, or any occupation where you wear a uniform or whatever the case is, that makes all the sense in the world to me. So this is Fortunate for Life. Peace and blessings. This is Jerry May the 1276, topping in from Knoxville, Tennessee. All right. You have my book and app. Thank you very much. Okay. You are, for the most part, a Taurus, which is right around the corner. And you're a Taurus 3 person. And so what that means is you are a person that's very pragmatic. That's the earth side. And yet very determined to succeed and passionate, which is the fire side, because the 3 rules the element of fire, although it's composed of fire and water. But it simply means that once you make up your mind, you're good to go. 3 people are normally very well liked, very popular. And I always have this standard joke. That's why it's always hard for you to sneak around, because you're always bumping into somebody. I mean, 3s are Mr. or Miss Popularity. That's how it goes with them. As soon as they step out the door, hey, Fortunate for Life, how you doing, Miss So-and-so? There's always those kinds of things. But the nice thing about it, since you are under the sign of Taurus, which is a fixed sign, and under the ambitious number of a 3, it tells me you should be a very enterprising person. And if you look at it, and although you're born in 76, I could say you don't look it, and this would explain why you draw younger men to you. That is, if you're not married. If you're already married, forget what I just said. Okay, because I know what your status is, you didn't put it like that, but it tells me that younger persons have definitely been involved with you every now and then, a long distance relationship. And if you did hook up with somebody, I wouldn't be surprised if they was from a different culture. You over here, they born in Jamaica, the Caribbean, they born in Asia, they born in South America, they born everywhere but around the corner and up the block. Okay, but anyway, and thanks for getting my book in that app. But your key numbers are the 3, 6, and 9. That tells me you have a very creative imagination. Okay. Yeah. And you are absolutely right. These books are very special to me. These books are reminders and keeps me in a state of thankfulness. Okay. Not that, as my mother used to say, smelling yourself. Okay. Thank you, all of that. No, I try very, very much to stay focused. This is Teddy Pendergrass's birthday, Diana Ross's birthday, Leonard Nimoy's birthday, a couple other people famous of note. But you are an Aries 8 person, Noor 787. And it simply means that you had a birthday last month. It tells me that last year should have been very important because it was the year of the 8, and you were in a 1 cycle year, starting with new beginnings, new directions, new opportunities. This particular year, let me see, if I do 326, see, because there's a certain way that I'm looking for a master number. That's yep. You happen to be an 11 personal year too. Okay. So this is a very special year to do some very special things with your life as it relates to relationships, diet, health, rearrangements of everything of that nature and not only that, but this year favors Aries, which is your sign. So you should do very, very well, my friend, this particular year. And if you need to mend fences, if you need to kind of separate some fences, all this is within your purview. But the point is, as you go throughout this year, you go through it with a higher consciousness, a higher expectation of how you want to live your life and how you want to do things. But a change of diet is going to be remarkably well. But your best numbers are always the 8, the 9, and the 6 in that order. Therefore, Saturday is your best day, followed by Tuesday, followed by Friday. Okay. All righty. Okay. Let's see. This is Deborah. Her daughter is October 26th, and she was born at 7:04 p.m. So that means your daughter's son is sitting in the 6th house, the house of health. Okay. But you have an old soul daughter, that I can tell you. Her numbers are the 8, 9, and 6. And it simply means she's very determined. And I tell you this, Deborah, it indicates from your daughter's birthday, she was probably out on her own between her 19th or 22nd birthday, whether to go to college. Ma, I think I got this, whatever the case is. And she's always been an old child spiritually. She would have been the type of elder, say, girl who was born with a veil over her face. You know what I'm saying? Those kinds of things. Or you leave her for the weekend. She tells you, give you an answer. You say, you've been talking to grandma? You know, it's that kind of thing. So you've been blessed with a daughter that's old spiritually, but young biologically. But her key numbers are the 8, 9, and 6. And her best days are always on a Saturday, followed by a Friday, followed by a Thursday. Oh, let me see. 8, 9, and 6. So that is Saturday first, Tuesday, then Friday. Okay, let me get this right. There's my man, Stephen. Hi, Carol. Stephen out of Chicago, my buddy. Okay, yeah. So it's very interesting. And yeah, she really, really nice. Really, really nice. That's good. Okay, Steve, hit that like button. Y'all better listen to Steve. That's my man. Don't let him come over here and embarrass all of y'all. Okay, so this is Aries Sun. Yes, how you doing? You're April 7th. Okay, I have an interview tomorrow. The job is the city. The job is a number 7, and the company's name is a 4. I'm a life path 8, and I was born on April 7th. Well, today is a 7 universal day. Now, here's the point. Tomorrow's going to be one of those weird type of days because it's going to be a 22nd, which is a 4, but yet it's going to be an 8 universal day at the same time. Not only that, we're going to be entering a 8 universal week. So look for some very odd. Here's the thing. When you go, first of all, thank you for the donation. When you go, don't expect anything. Here's what I'm saying. That normally with 4s and 8s, the more they expect something, the more it goes just the opposite. Just go on the interview, keep your fingers crossed, take spirit with you so you're not alone in that interview, and you just come from the side of truth. And if you take that attitude, you'll probably get it. So you got to call us next week to tell you whether you got the job, or call us on Wednesday. It all depends. But it does look good. It does look good. And see, not only that, but Tuesday rules Aries, and you're in Aries, but you're Aries 7. So your numbers are the 7, 2, and 6. All righty. So I would say tomorrow, it all depends. And if the job is a number 7 and you're a 7, that speaks also. And don't forget, 7s and 4s are kind of what is called interchangeable too, because the 4 is ruled by the sun, the 7 is ruled by the moon, the 2 is ruled by the moon, and the 1 is ruled by the sun. So these 4 numbers, the 1, 2, 4, and 7, are interchangeable with each other. And so if that's the case, I would expect, especially since it's going to be in a master number, that you should do very well. But thank you so much for the donation too. All the best too. Tell us how you did. Okay. Okay, Sonia, she says, hi, can I get a reading for the first time? Yes. Jamaica West Indies, yes. You are a 7-7 in the year of the 70. So that means you're a Cancer 7, water, and you're born in an Earth year, because 1970 as the 17, and 1 plus 7 is 8. And by that, it simply means that you have been always a lady of a very spiritual and intuitive nature, always been very individualistic. I noticed for whatever reason, unlike others, that Women who are sevens are often accused by other women as being snooty, stuck up, or who do you think you are? And it's not that at all. Sevens like to just be low key. They like to stay under the radar. They don't put everybody's in the street and whatnot. But if you do prefer to be your own best company, that would make sense. And so I tell you this, your key numbers are the 7, 2, and 6. Mondays and Fridays are your best days. And you happen to be in a 5 personal year. So you know how the cycles go from 1 to 9, or you're in the midway of that 9-year cycle. So you're at the midway point. And this is the cycle that will allow you to make some important and significant changes in your life. All right, everybody, I'm going to have to wrap it up. I just want to see if there were any donations that if I do, I'll make sure I catch you. Okay. Wow, I'm glad I caught this one. This person, thank you very much for the donation. This is a water sign with a water number and born in a water year. So that means all your life you will follow some emotional, intuitive lines of endeavors. Okay. 7 tells me you have a mind of your own, very individualistic, like to question things to the degree. You're born under the sign of Scorpio, which has a love of probing and prying and getting down. So you make an excellent detective with this birthday, analyst with this birthday, researcher, investigator, whatever the case may be. And you're born in the year 2000, which suggests to me that since you were conceived in 1999, that one of your parents could have been a Leo, Aries, and Aquarius, or born on the 1st, the 4th, the 19th, the 1st, the 4th, the 10th, the 13th, 19th, 22nd, 28th, or 31st of the month. Or if you're born in 2000, they could have either been a Cancer, or born on the 2nd or the 7th, the 11th, the 16th, the 20th, 25th, or 29th of any month. That's it. And thank you so much for the donation. Much appreciated. Okay. Let's see. Wow, Big E's mother's birthday is today. Happy birthday, Mom. I was saying to your mother, but we ain't gonna mess up her day. In the shower, I sound great. Okay. Outside of that, I'm not gonna embarrass you, much like your mother. But happy birthday to your mother, Big E. The fact she's the best, she produced you. And it's so interesting because she's born on the 21st. She turned 84, and 8 plus 4 is 12, which is her 3 in reverse. So this is going to be a great year for your mom, okay? And you can tell her that Lloyd said so, okay? That's what you do. So congratulations, and say hi to your family too, okay? All right, everybody. I do want to thank everybody. July 18th. Let me just read this one. How do you feel about name changing? Goldie Lee isn't my real name, but it matches my name compatibility on your app. Okay, what I'm going to do is write this down and I will answer your question on Wednesday. Okay, and that's Shanika Tilford, HARNIKATILFORD. I'll have an answer for you on Wednesday, and that's July 18th, 88. Okay, good. Can't wait to get in your business. Thanks, Goldie Lee. Okay, that's going to be fun. All right. This is where you can get a reading. And by the way, I always forget to put up my banner, so I'm going to do that this time. And this is where you can get in touch with me. All my information. I suggest you go to Linktree/numbers in you to get all the information. And thank you very much. I do have a Cash App because sometimes people do ask. And I said, believe me, I'm not saying, okay, hit the Cash App. That's not how I roll. But people say, well, you have a Cash App. And I very rarely do this when I'm on. I've been on pretty much for April, pretty much on my own. But I keep forgetting to put up my banner. So that should give you a clue. But this is it. All right. So everybody, I do want to thank you. I have no idea what happened to my sponsors. I got a whole different set of sponsors that don't count. But I tell you, I will have it straight on Wednesday. So, for example, it says January. This is April. Okay. Even I have no idea. I don't understand this. Anyway, it's okay. But for those who sponsors the show, by the way, for Jazz Aphrodite's book, I think go to jazzaphrodite.com and pick up her book, Knock It From the Inside. Go to numeralytics.biz to get hers, go to Manifest on Purpose with Miss Kimberly, KIMBALEY.com. Go to Nicholas Brooklyn at 1396 Fulton Street in Brooklyn, New York City. And they got a very special event coming up on Sunday. I have everything together on Wednesday. I have no idea what happened today, but at least it's on. Okay, let me see. Is there anything else? Okay. And for those of you who are downloading my app, the Star 8, by the way, if any of you are having a concern, write to support, SUPPORT at astar8.com. It will go directly to my developer, who will get directly back to you. What it would do is they would send it to my email, then I'd pass it on. So he made my life easier. So if you got any problems, good, bad, or indifferent with the app, go to support, SUPPORT at astar8, ASTAR8.com. Okay. So everybody, I do want to thank you. I look forward to my palmistry class tomorrow. That's going to be for beginners. That's going to be fun. And then see, even it's got the wrong date. This is like, I have no idea where this came from. But anyway, love you all. You'll all take good care of yourselves. And I will talk to you on Wednesday. That's for sure. Okay. Bye.